Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mercury, and today I'm over at Central Park. I want to show you around. So Central Park is absolutely humongous. So I'm not going to get to the whole park today. No way, no how. It is too massive. There's too much to do, too much going on. So I'm going to start here. I'm at 59th and Lex by this big statue over here. It's also right across from the Plaza Hotel, just as like wayfinding. If you ever see my walk down Fifth Avenue during the holidays, right at that area. So we're gonna go into the park. But first things first, I'm gonna look for a place to sit down, a little bench or something, because I came prepared. I have lunch and I have to eat, and then I'll walk around. I'll show you Central Park. Come on, let's go do it. Let's do it. Well, now if this isn't convenient, I don't know what is. I like Pokeworks. I could get like a nice little salad. It's satisfying. It's got some protein in it. It's all good. It's all good. So I have refueled. I'm feeling good. Let's get into the park. So like I said, I entered from 59th and Lex. Now I've done some videos in the past in Central Park. When I went to see Shakespeare in the Park, that entrance was closer to the American Museum of Natural History, which is sort of midway through the park. I've done the flotillas at Halloween time at the Harlem Mirror. That is all the way in the northeast corner of the park. So the park is huge. It's absolutely huge. There's so much here. So I'm starting from a corner I don't usually start at, and I'm taking you along. So this is the main path as we're walking in from the 59th Street area. And also, like around that entrance, there's pedicabs, there's horse-drawn carriages. So if you're interested in seeing the park via those modalities, you can get those right at the entrance. So if you keep going this way, this is actually the entrance to the Central Park Zoo. So I am not actually going into the zoo today, but let me just show you what the entrance looks like over here. So the Central Park Zoo is one of a few zoos in the New York area, and it's $22 for an adult, $16 for a kid, and $18 and change for a senior. Now this zoo, compared to some of the other zoos, say like the Bronx Zoo, is much smaller, but it is also very convenient. So if you're like just out seeing New York City and you just want to do something a little bit different and see some animals, it's a great little reprieve. But it is a much smaller zoo in comparison to say like the Bronx Zoo. So if we were going to the zoo today, we would get our tickets and go on inside there, but that is not the plan for today. And if you're curious about what the zoo has to offer, this is like the map, and this is posted outside. So if you're like questioning if you want to do it beforehand, you can take a look at this map and you can see they have like the tropical zone, they have red pandas, my personal favorite, they have seals and bears, all sorts of animals to be seen. So as I'm walking by, you could kind of see into the park and you could see that there's a seal tank right there. Let's see if a sea lion or a seal comes swimming by. Oh, I could see him swimming. Oh, he just stuck his little head out. Yep, there's two of them right there. So even just as a quick walk by, you could see the seals. Also this area, you could just keep walking through and you have the Delacorte clock, and you can see there's like sculptures up top with like an elephant playing the squeeze box, and we have a hippo playing a violin. It's a really, really cool clock. And this whimsical looking area right over here with a big old tree stump, this is where the children's petting zoo is. You can see even the squirrels are getting in on the fun. And you could see it's open every day, 10 to 4. So even if you're not planning on going into the zoo, it's a nice little area of the park to walk on through, and you can get a distance glimpse of some of the animals from there. But we're gonna keep walking on. So from here, there is a fork in the road. I can go left this way, and that would go towards the carousel, or I can go right towards the Balto statue. I am gonna go right. There's also tons and tons of seating. So during the summer or warmer months, if you want to just rest or if you have like food, a lot of options for a place to just sit down and relax. And if you're like me, get your lunch, have a little picnic. It's a good time. It's a good time. So there's like this playground over here on the right side, and the path continues forward, but there's this little path that goes off to the side. And if you're like me and you're super curious about random paths, I'm gonna take the path. I guess you could say I take the path less traveled. Yeah, I'm having one of those punny kind of days. Sorry, bear with me. Where is this taking me? There's these little steps. There's a big rock. Where are we going? Oh, spring is sprunging. Look at the little flowers. Look at the little, this is gonna be gorgeous when it fully blooms. Oh my gosh, this whole thing is gonna be yellow. Oh wow, I'm gonna have to come back here when this all blooms. Oh, and at the top I found what's kind of like a wooden gazebo.
This is if you want option for pond.
Look at this, look how beautiful this is. There's some seating up here. And it's just kind of overlooking the park. Oh, we had some lovebirds here. Some lovebirds left their mark. This is really cool. This is like one of those like little gems. You just have to explore a bit, right? I was like, ooh, where does this path go? And look what I found. A cool gazebo. So this is kind of cool. I was walking along and I saw this sign that says there's an audio guide, explore the South End, and it gives this QR code. So they have an audio information guide about the park. So if you want to learn about the history of the park, I guess. So if you want to learn more about the park while you're walking around, you can do that. I kind of feel like New York is full of things like that, where there are these little nuggets or Easter eggs or little extras if you like keep your eyes peeled for them, where you get extra information and learn more about the wonderful city that is New York while you're here. There are also a lot of play areas. I'm not going to show them because there's kids playing, but if you have kids and they need to burn off some energy, yeah, there's a lot of playgrounds and play areas in the park too. I've passed like 2 or 3 of them already, and it's just been a short walk so far. So I got to this like main street here and I crossed over and I'm walking this way now because my goal is to get us over by Bethesda Terrace. And if you're not familiar, Bethesda Terrace is like the really famous area of Central Park where they like to film a lot of movies. So when I get there, it should probably look a little familiar to you. So while I'm walking here, it's probably worth noting a couple of things. Number one, be careful of like bikes and vehicular traffic when you're crossing. There are crosswalks, but just be aware. And number two, if you're planning on like renting a bike or doing a bike tour through the park or a pedicab through the park, they're restricted to those main roads. So there's a lot of the park that you're not going to have access to via bike or pedicab. So if you really want to see all of the park, hoofing it is the best way to see it all. But there's options, right? There's options. Walking along and there are these like hidden gems of like really old cool arches and tunnels, because like that's another way of getting across the street I just crossed. You could have gone under it, through the tunnel. And if you've seen Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, some of these tunnels and like stonework might look a little familiar. Okay, I have arrived at the Bethesda Fountain and Bethesda Terrace. You can see it's a really, really nice area of the park over here. Fountain's not quite on yet. There's a street musician busking today, so we got some chill vibes going on for music. We got a beautiful little lake, little pond here. Just good vibes, good atmosphere. During the warmer months, this fountain gets turned on. Well, let's go up top. Let's go over here. One of my most amusing memories of this area was I came here for SantaCon. And if you're not familiar with what SantaCon is, it's a whole bunch of people dressed like Santas that get like text updates and basically tell you where to go next, and you go all throughout the city. And it's a glorified pub crawl, essentially. But one of the stops was over here. There are all these Santas filling this area as far as the eye could see. And doing like cheerleading pyramids, and like it was something to behold. Something to behold, my friends. Totally opposite type of vibe. This is the archway underneath. So let's go in here and take a look. And then we'll go up topside. You can totally hear some birds who have made this their home. Look at all the tile work. It's incredible. Okay, so I'm taking these stairs up, and there is another way around, so if you can't do stairs, there is an alternative way of getting up here. But I can do stairs, and I was over here, so I'm doing the stairs. And this is what it looks like from up top. Get this great view, looking down on the fountain. Oh, look, there's a bride taking her photos. Awesome. It's a really beautiful atmosphere, but it's also just so iconic. I mean, like I said, so many films have been shot here before. So for me, one of the first movies that comes to mind when I think of Bethesda Terrace is The Avengers. Yeah, but you know, like I said, so many films were shot here. So let me know, when you see Bethesda Terrace, what film comes to mind for you? Let me know in the comments. I'm really curious because the filming history here is rich. Okay. Onward, let's keep walking. Okay, I am on the move, and this time I'm heading to another very famous location here in Central Park. I'm heading to Strawberry Fields. There's some good Beatles history in this area. In addition to Strawberry Fields, John Lennon's apartment is also Central Park West, I believe. But yeah, so if you're a big Beatles fan, there's a bit of Beatles history to be had over here. Now, as we're walking, something about Central Park I don't know that everyone realizes is how hilly it is. Like, here's one hill over here. Look across the street over there. You can see some big hill, bunch of rocks. Now, my understanding, and this could just be urban legend, but this is like sort of the lore, if you will, that I grew up with, is that it has to do with like the glaciers and like way back when, like the glaciers moving down, and then when they got to the New York area, they just kind of stopped. So they dropped a whole bunch of like rocks and stuff. And my understanding is also like the North Shore of Long Island is very like cliffy and rocky, whereas the South Shore, like the beaches are like sand and pleasant and soft and smooth and low and flat. So I think it's also related to the same sort of phenomenon. But again, just lore. I don't know if that's fact or not, but that is the story of my youth as to why there are so many gosh darn hills and rocks in Central Park. When you get to the area, you'll know it right away, because went from being no people around to being a ton of people around.
Then for today, you imagine no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for.
Oh, that's a vibe and a half right there. So over at Strawberry Fields, and there was a busker playing Imagine, and it's just like, it's powerful stuff. Total vibe over there. So based on where I am, I don't think I'm going to end up going in a full circle like I originally intended, and I think I'm going to come down and come out by Columbus Circle. But along the way, I can show you some Ghostbusters related things. Yes! So when people come to New York City and they think about the Ghostbusters and like what they could see, the number one place that people talk about is the firehouse. And don't get me wrong, the firehouse is awesome, but to me, what I find truly awesome is the stuff that's right here around Central Park. Because these are the things that, like, when I was a kid, my parents made a point to point out to me. So these are like landmarks that I grew up knowing that they are here, and I love it. And I'm gonna share them with you. So the first place that I was gonna show you, it turns out it's not the best day for me showing you, but I will do the best I can, because today was the New York City Half Marathon, and they use this area apparently as a staging area. But we are at Tavern on the Green. Yeah. So if you recall from Ghostbusters, when like Rick Moranis' character, Louis Tully, he was like, you know, attacked by Gozer's minions, and he became the keymaster, and he had to come running out of his apartment, and he like went to the fancy restaurant. Yeah, that was Tavern on the Green. So this is the restaurant where he came and he was like banging on the window right before the keymaster got him. And if we look right across the street here, this is the other thing that I was going to show you. And this is what I grew up knowing as the Ghostbuster building. Let me try to get where the trees are not obstructing the view. Yeah. So if you look at the top of the building, it's like very, very characteristic. Like you cannot mistake it. But that is the building where it was like in the movie, all the Ghostbusters were at the top doing epic battle with Gozer the Gozerian, and then the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man comes and he's like stomping around, and then Bill Murray's like, nobody steps on a church in my town, right? You could see next door to the building over there, there's the church. That's where good old Stay Puft was trying to stick his marshmallowy feet. But yeah, right here. I don't know, I feel like it's one of those like mixed bag, like people who know that this is here, but I think in general most people don't realize that's the building that like the characters of Dana Barrett and Louis Tully like lived in Ghostbusters. It was like right there, Central Park West. So, but I'm actually heading out of the park because there's like barricades from the half marathon. It's making it a little convoluted, so I'm just trying to find my way through. But now that I'm outside of Central Park, I can actually show you a better view of the building. So we're just walking along here, but this building, not this one, but this one right here in the middle, that's the building. So you can see, like, from over here, just looks like a normal New York City building. But that top, man, that Ivo Shandor top, right? Fictional architect, just to clarify. But from this angle, you can really see how the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man could have really caused some havoc here, right? This is it. So I'm out of the park, so I guess I should wrap it up because we were doing a Central Park tour, right? So, oh my gosh, my hair is all over the place today. I am sorry, y'all. But this was great. We had a great little walkabout. We got to see different areas of the park. We saw where the Central Park Zoo is located. We got to see a little hidden path. We went to Bethesda Terrace, Strawberry Fields, and we got a little bit of Ghostbusters history. What can get better than that? So I guess with that, I'm done for the day. I'll see you all real soon. And until then, stay inspired by everyone. Take care.